We'll be disappointed and frustrated if this is where it stops, if we don't move forward and make progress in making it more available.
It's been 2 weeks since a new law went into effect, essentially decriminalizing cannabis oil in Iowa. The law applies only to patients with intractable epilepsy. While the new law does make it legal to possess and use cannabis oil, it does not allow in-state production or sales of the oil.
And tonight, KCCI's Mark Tauschek reports on roadblocks that will be faced by Iowans looking to legally obtain the oil.
Kim and Matt Novi of Altoona appear relaxed, but they are not. Their twin 12-year-old daughters require constant supervision.
They can never be left alone, ever. So, yeah, we're always on edge and we're always on.
Lindsay and Lauren both have Dravet syndrome, a rare form of intractable epilepsy. Oxygen is always within reach for the big seizures, but on this day, Lauren is dealing with what her mom calls a cluster of small eyelid seizures. Her hands are constantly shaking. It may seem minor, but imagine this happening to you over and over with no way to make it stop.
We've failed completely 7 medications. The other 3 that they're on aren't controlling them, so you could say that we've failed 10 medications.
Do you remember how to spell the word square?
S-Q-U-A-R-E.
Good.
Karen Sales of Ankeny lost count of 11-year-old William's seizures years ago and lives in constant fear of his next big one.
You know, every night you go to bed wondering, please, praying, please don't let this be the night.
It's hard for most parents to imagine living this way. The parents of Caden Homolka of Guthrie Center also don't need to use their imagination.
Super high.
Caden has had seizures his entire life. His parents think the constant rotation of anti-seizure drugs and their side effects is what has led their son to diagnoses of ADHD, a myriad of developmental disabilities, and a severe sleep disorder.
Well, like I told a neurologist, sometimes I wonder if it's best just to let him have a seizure over the medicine and see what happens.
All 3 families expect to qualify for Iowa's limited medical marijuana program that applies to patients with intractable epilepsy. They want their children on cannabis oil as soon as possible because they hear success stories like Brady Gritman. We first met 3-year-old Brady at his home in Tama in January. No talking, no crawling. His tiny body ravaged by grand mal seizures, anywhere from 1 to 10 a day. Brady's parents moved to Colorado in April, establishing residency to become eligible for that state's medical marijuana program. We visited them in May.
Medicine, baby. Medicine, okay.
His parents told us after just 3 weeks on cannabis oil, he was down to a seizure every few days. He was stronger, tracking with his eyes, even smiling occasionally. But only in his parents' wildest dreams did they see what was coming next. This was Brady on the 4th of July when his parents announced he had gone the entire month of June without a single seizure and counting. He is a different boy. Brady's family hopes to come home soon but won't until they know they can get the cannabis oil into Iowa legally. As of right now, there are few, if any, who see how anyone who gets an Iowa cannabis oil registration card this fall will be able to get the medical cannabis into the state.
We're really putting people in a really difficult position to break the law, essentially, to meet the health care needs of their loved ones.
Senator Joe Bolcom from Iowa City says other states with medical marijuana programs have production of the medical cannabis within the state. And Iowa's law needs to follow suit next year.
Iowa, well, that may be a challenge to get people's minds around that. It's absolutely where we have to be. We have to be able to produce that medicine here in Iowa for Iowans to have the benefit of it.
Marijuana is illegal at the federal level. Even an Iowa marijuana registration card will not provide legal protection for the oil to be mailed or transported by plane. Driving back and forth from states that have reciprocity, where Iowans wouldn't have to be residents to buy cannabis oil, is asking parents to navigate a myriad of obstacles, the biggest of which is the possibility of getting arrested in a state where cannabis oil is not legal. Frustration in a law that can't be used.
Don't say you can have it, but then you can't get it.
Leads to desperation.
Pretty much what we've just looked at is just driving across Nebraska and hopefully not getting pulled over.
Make sure your headlights are on. Go the speed limit. You shall be okay. even with them Iowa plates.
And the battle continues next legislative session. Proponents have said they'll focus on making more medical conditions like cancer and AIDS eligible for the program. And as you heard from Senator Bolcom, they'll also push for production of marijuana in Iowa, a step that will certainly be the focus of intense debate.
Mark Tauschek, thank you. An interim legislative committee to review implementing this new medical cannabis law will meet sometime in the next 2 months, and that's when families will be invited to testify about the challenges that they are seeing.